How about the way you finished up the regular season first?
Well, all I can say about the regular season is that I'm extremely proud of our kids. Anytime that you're where we are in our location in the country, early on in the season, you're going to travel to play games, and sometimes teams are ahead of you. You know that. But you welcome that at the same time because you know it's about the back half of the season, not the front. And so the first thing I want to say is how much I appreciate our kids battling through what I would call highly characteristic start. For us, it seems like every year if you look up about 15 games in, 20 games in, sometimes depending on how many you get in early. It seems like sometimes this year we were 3-12, and when you start that way, you get a lot of kids that say to you or come in maybe and think this is really hard, it's not going our way. We've had some tough luck, and while that happens, they also had to show a lot of resistance, like instead of resistance but resilience in a way. Where they had to battle through that, overcome, really, really come together, decide if they wanted to battle or lay down. And, our guys stepped up to the plate, kind of changed their mindset, shifted their focus a little bit. And, I think now we're 31-20, I believe. So when you look at 3-12 to 31-20, you put together a 28-8 run to kind of, finish the year, close that out, 22-6 in conference. Won the conference outright by 4 games over the next closest team. And so, again, just extremely proud of the kids. I think Dion and I were talking about this the other day. We closed on a 15 out of 19 run overall, all the games that we played. And so really, really proud of that. And I feel really good about where we are in the way that we set ourselves up in the postseason.
What area of improvement did you see most in this team this year?
Well, I think some of our young kids, they had to figure out a little bit about, how college baseball works. We do have some older kids, but the older kids that we had, especially the transfers that we had, they hadn't really played a lot in a season, and some of them were redshirt kids. Some of them might have been gap year kids. But a lot of them had to grow up a little bit, and they had to figure out how college baseball works, how to hit as a college hitter, how to grind out at bats when needed. And then obviously, when the pressure mounts, that's when you find out if your guys are going to be able to stand up. And so we had to do that on the mound as well, with a lot of freshmen throwing a lot of innings for us. We had to do it at the plate where, really outside of really 4 guys for us. I mean, Cameron Arrington, Cole Carter, Peyton Moore, Corey Kozad, those were the 4 guys that we had back that played significantly for our team a year ago on a really, really good team. And that was really chock full of guys that were upper level. You look at the players in the past where last year's kids went. You have a bunch of kids starting at Division I's and high-level Division I's at that. And so when you're back on that team and you're mixing in with 42, when we started the year back in August, 42 new faces, 42 freshman kids, 42 first years out of 55 kids, it really can strain you as a team, and it really can force you to come together. And so that was really our largest area of improvement. And as the year's gone, the weather's warmed up, those kids have started to settle in. And now you wouldn't know that they were freshmen from the way that they finished the year, the way they're playing now. So that's a really positive sign for us.
Does this postseason field look pretty familiar to you guys? It seems like this is usually the way it goes for you guys in the course of the season.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, our region, I believe, I think it continues to get better and better and better. I want to give the other teams in our region a lot of credit because, they battle too. They all, when they play us, it seems like every game they play against us is a really, really good effort from them from the time we open the conference, till the time we close it. And, we had talked about that before. But the other teams in the region have done a really, really good job of battling for their positions as well. Western Nebraska and NJC, for example, both were battling the last day of the conference season. They were battling for second place outright. Whoever won the final game for them was going to get that other bye. And so when you have teams, and we played Western first in the conference, and so they had kind of, when we played well opening conference weekend out there and took all 4 games, they had their backs against the wall. They finished 17-11, so that tells you, they went 17-7 in the remaining 24 conference games they had, so they really had to battle. So a big credit to them. At the same time, McCook, I think I just saw this, Coach Olson and their staff did a good job with their guys as well. I think he said, if I remember right, I hope I'm not misspeaking, but 3-9 is how they opened. And I think they finished 14-14 to battle through. So, they finished, in their final 16, they won 11 of those. So they finished 11-5, and 3 of those, before we played them last weekend, they were 10-2 in their previous 3 conference games or conference series. So a lot of credit to the teams in our region. This tournament is why you play baseball. It's why you want to play. Any game really is for the competition aspect of it and what you can learn, what you can get out of it. And these are the moments as a player that you really cherish and relish, and this is why you go through what you go through.
How are you guys health-wise? You in pretty good shape?
Yeah, I mean, we've arrived healthy somewhat. Obviously, we've lost 2 guys to season-ending stuff. We lost C.J. Hoffman clear back in the series against Western Nebraska to a fractured wrist. And then Will Barrett was with us, and he was starting for us like CJ was to begin the year as an outfielder for us. And we lost him to actually a pretty severe back fracture. So he hasn't been with us for quite a while. And we obviously miss those guys. But, in this game, you have to kind of have a next man up mentality, because when you get to this stage of the thing, season, no one's going to feel sorry for you, and it doesn't matter what stage you're in, really. I mean, but we love those guys. We miss them, but, it is what it is. We have to keep going. So other than that, I feel like we're relatively pretty healthy.
It seems like you and your brother and your coaching staff, and even the players to a certain extent, this is when you guys really, you can just sense another level of focus here. Maybe that's just me from the outside looking in, but you guys live for this stuff. Your whole season, the whole year, is built for this time. I mean, how do you keep that all in perspective?
Well, I think first of all, the schedule that we force our kids to play is very, very challenging from the start of the season, and we know that. But secondly, the way that we practice here is, there's tough love here. There's when something happens, you're going to know, good or bad. There's putting your arm around you. There's, hey, tapping you on the shoulder, tapping you on the back, saying, hey, man, that was great. But at the same time, there's also those moments where you say, oh, my God, what are you doing? And sometimes it doesn't get said exactly like that, Steve. I'm not going to lie to you. But those things really, here, our kids understand it's a family atmosphere and we love them. But that doesn't mean that you're still going to tolerate, stuff where you're, not consistent with your approach, not consistent with, your habits and things like that. We talk about trying to be as consistent as possible all the time, day in, day out, so that, sometimes you have to overcome when you're not playing your best, you don't have your best stuff, but you learn how to battle without it. And you learn how to figure out ways to win without it when you're not doing or not playing your best. And so, as I said, these are the moments that, you live for as an athlete. These are the moments that you want to be in. And so I'm excited just to watch how our kids respond to this week and the way they finish the season. I think I can say without any hesitation that we're going to get their best effort.
Anything you might want to add?
I just appreciate all the support that we've had. Year long, all year. For us, the travel, the people that have traveled with us. The support we've gotten from, our administration here, the support we get from the community here as well. And, just looking forward to seeing how these guys finish this thing, because I'm excited. It's, Could be 1 week, could be 2, could be 3. We hope it's 3. But I think these guys are going to leave it out on the table, and I appreciate every one of them.